Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've been off for a couple of weeks, as has the Arkansas football team. But we're ready. Hotz Game Day is back and better than ever. We have a returning guest star this week, and one of the most anticipated games of the season. It's Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Arkansas Razorbacks in a commemoration of the 1964 National Championship team. Join us as we break down all of the marquee games of the day. Hotz Game Day.
We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. How we ablaze the fire, make it fun them. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have waited a long 2 weeks to get back to you, but we took a bye just like the Arkansas Razorbacks, so that we could prepare to talk to you all about these games that we have coming up. So let's get the ball rolling. We have an interesting little headline coming in this week with Todd Gurley being suspended. So let's get the ball rolling. Started off with number 13 Georgia playing number 23 Missouri. What do you think, Matt?
You know, I think Georgia's going to be emotionally unstable for this game. Missouri coming off the big win at South Carolina. I think Missouri's going to win this game, and the SEC East is wide open.
I agree. I think that Georgia is a fragile enough team anyway. I read a stat this week that Todd Gurley's responsible for 35% of their offense.
Is that a lot?
That's a whole lot.
Oh, okay.
So if you take him out, and I think he's throwing passes for him now. He's throwing the longest pass in Georgia's season this year.
He's catching them right, too.
He's catching them. He's running. I think they have him playing coach some.
Really?
I think that Missouri's going to win this one, and that leaves my projected SEC East champion to be Sewanee,
Yeah.
I think.
Don't forget about Kentucky.
Throwing it back. All right, next up on the slate, we have number 12 Oregon, the Duckies, playing UCLA Bruins, number 18. But before we begin that, we're going to bring in our guest host. Back by popular demand. And by his own demand, we have Trevor Page, host extraordinaire, RA extraordinaire, representing the fourth floor of Hotz Honors Hall. Let's hear it for Trevor Page.
Yes. So glad to be back.
I like how you come prepared.
Of course. Wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know where the laptop goes.
Laptop fits conveniently in the jacket pocket.
Did your laptop fit in your back pocket?
Yes.
His pen will go off. He's got it.
Okay.
Anyway. So, Grady, did you want to tell us what you think about this one, Oregon, UCLA?
Both of these teams are coming off deflated losses at home. We have UCLA lost to Utah while Oregon lost to Arizona. And this game is going to be played at UCLA, but I still think Oregon's going to win because they're the more complete team.
I gotta agree with you on that one. I think Oregon is going to be looking for a bounce back win. I think Marcus Mariota is a good enough quarterback that even if Mark Helfrich isn't trying to rein in the team, he'll be doing his best to rein him in. And UCLA just hasn't impressed me this year. Trevor, guest host, what do you think?
I completely agree. I think a lot of UCLA's success has been all based on preseason hype. I don't feel like at any point their ranking was ever really merited. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sure that Oregon is any shell of their previous self either, but I do think they will have the firepower, especially on offense, to go ahead and win this game, even though it is played at UCLA.
All right, so we're going to talk about our next game, one that Mr. Dunlap is probably excited about. We're going down to Big 12 land, and we've got two Texas teams. We've got TCU playing Baylor, number 9 versus number 5. Who you got, Grady Dunlap?
Well, like Tucker said, I am kind of the resident Big 12 guy.
Only Big 12 guy.
Ew. I'm very excited about this game. I like both of these teams. I think they both have the potential to stir some stuff up. That being said, I am going to go with the Bears on this one. They're playing at home, and they've had more momentum going, whereas TCU has kind of become a more recent player on the stage. But I think this will be a good ball game, and both these teams will have great seasons going down the road.
All right, Kyle, why don't you give us a pick for this one?
Well, high-flying offense versus, I don't even know, TCU. They beat somebody. So, but I'm gonna give it to Baylor. Bryce Petty's pretty darn good. So
Trevor, what do you think?
I'm gonna disrupt the status quo a little bit. I think TCU wins this one. I think Baylor's unproven on the year. I think they've played well in the games that they've won, but they've yet to face a ranked opponent. TCU, going into last week, hadn't faced a ranked opponent either, and then look what they did to Oklahoma. They took them straight down to the wire and beat them at what they do best. So I think one thing going into this game will be a competitiveness factor. TCU has been there and done that, and I think that'll show against Baylor.
I personally think that TCU is going to be able to pull this one out too. I think that we have historical proof that Gary Patterson can coach defense, and which is a rare commodity in the Big 12. And the fact that Baylor was only able to score 28 points against Texas is not that impressive to me. I agree, they're unproven. So I think that the Horned Frogs walk into Baylor and take away a win and bring the tarp back out.
And if y'all are going to go with the common opponent thing of it, TCU beat SMU by 56, whereas Baylor only did by 45. So just throwing that one out there.
I think that the Saline County Boys and Girls Club beat SMU by 55. So anyway,
next game.
We're gonna cut to commercial on that break, but stick around. We've got a little bit of burns to share around, but you know it's all good here. It's all in good sport. Stick around. We'll be right back.
No trouble. I'm all about that bass.
Talking about the football game this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to start off our SEC slate now. We're going to be heading to the SEC West, the hard-fought SEC West. We've got two ranked teams, number 3 Ole Miss and number 14 Texas A&M. Matt, what do we think about this game?
Well, I think Texas A&M is going to win this game. They're playing in College Station. Ole Miss is going to have to play in twice as hostile an environment as they were playing in last week at home. And I mean, this is going to be weird to say, but I think A&M is going to make less mistakes than Alabama. Just saying it.
Interesting thoughts. All right, Grady.
Texas A&M's SEC home record has been not so great, and they are coming off that very much deflating loss at Mississippi State and the deflating almost loss to Arkansas.
Cool.
That being said, I do think A&M is the more complete team here. I think it'll be a very close game, but I think the Aggies will take it at home.
All right, Kyle, you look like you're brewing up an idea. So what you got?
Well,
Anything at all?
Well. I'm gonna pick Ole Miss.
Why?
Well, I mean, hotty toddy, and I just don't like A&M. I don't like their mantra. I don't like their 12th man because I think they stole that
From Seattle? Yeah,
From Seahawks. Even though I don't really like the Seahawks either, but it's okay. But
You have Marshall.
I respect both of them as institutions. Very good schools.
Why? Seattle's a good school.
Yeah, Seattle's a very good school. No.
Anything about football?
Yeah, any football at all, or are we just going to pass on that one?
No, let's talk football.
All right, let's talk football.
Yeah, that's what the show is all about. Yeah, I'm gonna take Ole Miss. I just think they have a special season right now. So.
Okay. Trevor, any innovation to follow that up?
I don't know if my insight will be able to compare with Kyle's there. I'll try my best. I think this game will say a lot about the Texas A&M football team as a whole. The last 2 weeks they haven't played well. Arkansas had them in overtime. They got embarrassed last week against Mississippi State. They lost by 17, but it wasn't even that close. I do think A&M will turn it around this week, though. I think a lot will be said about them being at home for the first time in 3 weeks. Their fan base and support is incredible there at Kyle Field, and I'm not sure that Ole Miss is quite the team that last week may have shown.
I'm going to have to agree with you on the fact that I don't think Ole Miss is quite the team that we've seen play in at least last week. That said, I don't think that A&M will be the team that upsets them. I think that A&M's on kind of a downward spiral, and I know they've only got one loss, but that it feels like more than that. And I said the moment that A&M came into the SEC, they'd get a couple of Texas recruits, win a couple of big games that they weren't supposed to, but in the end they would always Aggie it up. They would have 9-4 every year, and their best years would be 9-4. And so far that's proven to be the case. And I think that even with the great Johnny Football, so I think that A&M will lose in this game simply because of Ole Miss's defense. However, keep your eyes on Ole Miss down the road. I don't think that they're making out of it undefeated either. Next up on our slate, number 2 Auburn versus number 3 Mississippi State. A game that if you called before the season started being number 2 and number 3, I would like for you to high-five yourself and then take yourself out to a nice steak dinner. Because you're a psychic, and then go play the lottery because you're probably going to win a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, I believe you wanted to say some words about this game.
I did. Well, the state of Mississippi is just a happening place, football-wise. But, this is a tough game. It's going to be, I'm feeling, I don't really know what I'm feeling, but
Oh,
Wow.
that's
I'm gonna go with the upset here, Mississippi State. I like the Bulldogs in this
Big
game.
upset.
it's a big upset of 1 point.
Yeah,
Huge upset right there.
So,
Hey,
what do you
hey,
think?
Chillax.
Shellacs?
Chillax?
Anyway, I'm feeling the Bulldogs.
So that's what you were feeling.
Okay, so he's feeling Bulldogs. All right, Trevor, what do you got?
I've gone back and forth. You know, we've talked all week. I've gone back and forth on this, and I just can't quite decide. But within the last 24 hours, I've finally come to a decision, and I do believe that Auburn will be able to go in to Mississippi State and win that game. And there are a lot of reasons going back and forth. Mississippi State looked phenomenal last week. Dak Prescott looks like a Heisman contender, a no doubt Heisman contender. Yet I think the experience that Auburn gained from going into Kansas State and playing them on a Thursday night when they were completely riled up and coming out of that game with a hard-fought victory will give them what they need to come out of Starkville with a victory.
Grady, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Tigers on this one. I think they'll win this ball game in Starkville. I do think Prescott is the better quarterback than Marshall, but with the exception of Kansas State, Auburn has been dominant this year, whereas Mississippi State struggled a little bit against both UAB and LSU. I think this will be a good ball game, but I'm going to go with Auburn on this one. They're going to keep on rolling.
Matt, you always have good things to say about Mississippi State. What do you got?
Well, no matter who wins this game, I think the real winner is Auburn because they get to leave Starkville. But I think they're going to win anyway, just because I think they're the better team, and it's very difficult to play at that quality 2 weeks in a row as an underdog for Mississippi State.
I like Trevor, have gone back and forth on this one. It's a tough game to call, but I think this game's where the magic runs out for Auburn. I think that with Gus Malzahn going into Auburn and taking over, there's been this sort of aura of magic around Auburn. And I think that's been intriguing to see. It's been sad as an Arkansas fan to see, but at the same time, it's very intriguing. I'm not a huge believer that either of these teams can make it out of the SEC West undefeated. I'm not sure that anybody can. But it makes for an intriguing matchup when Auburn and Alabama and Mississippi State Ole Miss play at the end of the season to decide which 2 SEC teams get into the playoff. I think that I'm going to give this one to the Bulldogs simply because they're at home. I think that it'll be a very close game. I think Auburn plays to the level of their competition, and the magic always seems to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if this ended like the prayer of Jordan Hare or the kick 6.
It rhymed again.
It rhymed again. They may have something. I can't think of anything that rhymes with Starkville, but I'm sure that they'll think of something.
You talk a lot.
So, I'm going to give it to the Bulldogs. When we come back, and I guess I'll try to do some less talking because Kyle's displeased with me. We're going to talk about a game that we're looking forward to. It's going to be sloppy, it's going to be rainy, it's going to be wet, but it's going to be fun. It's Alabama at Arkansas when we come back.
This has been too much. George! I'm gonna do it, Kyle.
Don't do it!
I'm gonna do it!
Don't do it! Drop him!
I'm sorry, would you like to rephrase what you just said?
Guys, I really think we should just calm down.
What is this? Finish him! No! Done.
Sorry, just wanted to, make sure. Oh!
Well, now it appears as though we've got
3 of a kind.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Ah!
Oh!
Trouble on the run. Man, you find the whole
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are glad to have you back. We are about to discuss number 7 Alabama at Arkansas. Alabama dropped one last week to Ole Miss, and Arkansas was victorious over the bye week. So,
That's a big win.
it's going to be rainy. It's going to be sloppy. Guys, do the Hogs love the slop? Do the guys pull it off? What do we think? Matt?
In this one, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, I picked Arkansas by 87 against A&M. A little bit off. A little bit off. I'm going to be a little more modest on this one. I think we win by 86.
How far off were you?
Some points.
How much?
9
This
points.
much.
We don't
Yeah.
talk of that game.
Anyway, Grady?
Despite the game that we chose not to mention, I'm actually feeling very confident about the rest of Arkansas' season. That being said, for this game, Arkansas' passing game continues to worry me a little bit. Arkansas has been running the ball great, but Bama historically can run the ball pretty good too. I think this will be a close game. I think this will be a good game. But I think in the end, Alabama's going to do what Alabama does, tied by 7.
Ooh.
Oh,
All right.
Grady.
Trevor?
We know who the traitor is.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. but-
Stop talking.
ISIS.
Let me tell you something about Arkansas football.
Please tell me something about Arkansas football, Trevor.
2 weeks ago, we were in a dogfight with Texas A&M. Had a 2-touchdown lead going into the 4th quarter. And in natural Arkansas fashion, they blow it.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you what's different about this team than teams in the past. This team is under a head football coach that is building a team that is going to run the ball and that will be built to win games like this. I want to say it now, and I want everyone to hear me clearly whenever I say that this kind of game in the future, Arkansas will win, not just win, but they will win handily. However, we're in year 2. It is what it is. So Arkansas is only going to win by 3.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna say that I agree with you. This whole coaching change is a process, and I feel like Arkansas fans have learned to be patient, especially with the encouraging things we've seen. I think that we have a lot of encouraging games coming up. With Todd Gurley being out of Georgia, I like us against Georgia. I like us against LSU. I like us against Missouri for sure. UAB, come on.
I know UAB is really good.
UAB's really good this year, but
Imagine that UAB SMU game.
but I think that Arkansas plays well again in the slop. Hogs love the slop. It's gonna be rainy. It's gonna be nasty tomorrow. So ball security is going to be huge tomorrow. I don't think Alabama has their quarterback situation figured out. Still not.
They're -2 in the turnover on the year. Turnover
Is
margin on the year.
Kenyon Drake was injured
Out for
in-
badly.
He's out.
That was gross.
So, and that was a horrible injury. We wish him the best. I think that Arkansas is going to be able to pull this one off in a close one. at home.
What's so funny, Kyle?
He made it funny.
Okay.
All right, Kyle, give us your prediction.
Well, we've been waiting for this game for a while now.
We have.
It's gonna be wet, like you said. It's gonna be rainy. It's not gonna be fun waiting in the line, but it's gonna be well worth the wait, I think. So, I believe.
Oh, sorry.
Goodness gracious, we have had Kyle leave the chair.
Oh no.
This is a first.
You're witnessing history.
So here's the tie. Here's the roll. The Razorbacks will roll the tie.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Gruden. Today I'm going to break down the science of the hog call. It's a tradition started way back in the 1790s by George Washington, I believe. He saw the Razorbacks play a football game and he said, "Woo pig suey." So I'm going to get my friend Bill Clinton here to tell us how to hog call. Give us a hog call.
Well, Hillary likes to teach me the hog call, so I'm just gonna get right. Pig, say.
That was inspiring, man. That's what life's all about, man. All right, we're gonna take it to Paul Feinbaum here. Paul,
Yeah.
let's see what you got. Let's see your hog call.
Roll Tide.
Now, I believe that was incorrect, actually. You know they're gonna eat you alive in the NFL if you do that.
Sure about that?
I am totally 100% sure. You see, I used to coach in the NFL. You see this ring that's as big as my head? Yeah, that's Super
I
Bowl.
was the president.
Well, yeah, he's probably got rings as big as mine. Now, let me tell you, this is Woo Pig Suey, not Roll Tide. You understand? You got to think about your team. Let's go. Start again.
Ooh, Pig Suey.
That was probably the most uncomfortable thing I've ever witnessed. Now, he's going to get eaten alive in the NFL. Let me tell you, he's nowhere near as good as Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. He'll run around there and punch you in the face, and that's what I like about a quarterback.
Let's go. Good.
Go Hawks! Go Hawks!
Fight it! Fight it!